Hi, boys and girls. It's Dr. Mustin. I'm back, and I have another version of The Night Before Christmas for you, and this one takes place in Texas, our very own state. That's where you and I live, in the state of Texas. And so this one's called The Texas Night Before Christmas. So you're going to see some things in here that you would see in Texas, especially on the west side of Texas. And you're going to see Santa look a little different. You're going to see the reindeer look a little different. And you might even hear me talking a little different. Here we go with the Texas Night Before Christmas. The Texas Night Before Christmas, written and illustrated by James Rice. 'Twas the night before Christmas in the cold wintry fog. Nary a critter was moving, nor a lone prairie dog. Then froze out of the north, the breeze gave a stir. An icy cold blast swirled the fog in a blur. A blue Texas norther roared over the plains. The cold fairly whistled through the loose window panes. I poked at the fireplace to stir up a flame. The embers glowed redder, but the cold stayed the same. Ma fixed up our dinner to be ready next day and thought about Christmas just a few hours away. Our scuffed boots were assembled on the floor pair by pair, where Santy would find 'em, for he soon would be there. Instead of stockings from the chimney, they had cowboy boots. Do you have boots? The young'uns were bundled down snug in their covers, a sprout of a girl and her 2 older brothers. So me and my long johns and Ma in her gown warmed up by the fire 'fore we laid ourselves down. Then from out on the range there came such a ruckus, I ran to the winder to see what the fuss was. Through the blue winter blizzard a scene came to sight. I squinted to see, for there weren't much light. There, stomping and snorting and pawing the ground, were 8 scroungy longhorns stampeding around in front of a wagon piled full as could be, with boxes and bundles as high as a tree. Can you see Santy there, leading those longhorns? Then a bellering yell soon set them all straight from a fat little old ramrod who put fear in the 8. Well, they weren't really scared, 'cause no harm would he cause, for their longhorn head honcho was old Santy Claus. He got their attention and called them by name. Hey, Leadfoot and Walleye, get up here, Calhoun. Come on, Gimp and Flop-Ear and Scarface, start dragging. Get on, Sam and High Hips, let's move this here wagon. Old Leadfoot, he bellered and lifted his head, then straight on they trampled through Ma's flower bed. They laid the gate flat, and the clothesline went too. Nothing stood in their way as they flat-footed through. Santy pulled them up short on top of the roof after wrecking them porch with them clodhopper hoofs. They rocked our sod shanty, the dirt sifted down, and through the chimney Santy came with a bound. He was dressed all in rawhide with the Stetson on top. His big Texas boots hit the floor with a clop. He shook his great belly and stomped with each foot, which knocked off a shower of mud, ash, and soot. His eyes were both squinty, and his skin was like leather, from too much exposure to that raw Texas weather. He looked tough as a horseshoe, but I felt no alarm, 'cause a wink of his eye showed he'd do no harm. A feed bag of toys he flung from his back, and with nary a word, he opened the sack. He filled all the boots and piled them up high, then looked out the window and up at the sky. The cold Texas norther still whistled and blew. More young ones was waiting. His work wasn't through. It was hard to just leave and walk through the door to face all them longhorns and the cold as before. So he drank some hot mud and hunched close to the heat to soak up the warmth and thaw his cold feet. He could no longer dally or put off the chore, so he gave us a wink and pushed through the door. He prodded the longhorns to get on the go when the wagon took off through the fog and the snow. He called over the northern 'fore he went out of sight. "Merry Christmas, you hear? And y'all have a good night." The end. That's the Texas Night Before Christmas. Did you hear some of the same rhythms? Did you see that the words rhymed like the original version? But instead of Santa Claus, it was Santy. And instead of reindeer, it was, you're right, Longhorn. I love listening to the different versions. We'll have another one for you tomorrow.